My name is Dr. Russ Meyer. I am an associate professor of electrical engineering and computer science in the United States at the Milwaukee School of Engineering in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I was invited to give this presentation about the use of social media tools to asynchronously deliver content to distance education students. Distance education naturally has a significant asynchronous component because of both geographical and time separation of students and instructors. Technology has always been used to bridge these separations. In the 1990s, I taught engineering to practicing engineers at a company located more than 150 miles from my university. We used closed-circuit television with two-way microphone communication for questions and answers. We also videotaped the lectures and made them available to students unable to attend class because of business travel. At that time, computer technology was still maturing, and the use of television, videotapes, and scheduled experiences at study centers were the most commonly used tools. Today, in the 21st century, however, the rapid rise of computer, internet, and wireless cellular technology has enabled sophisticated web-based learning management systems, computer simulation environments, location-aware mobile applications, and social media. Learners also have unprecedented access to a worldwide information database. As educators, we must evaluate new tools as they become available to determine if and how they can be used to enhance student learning. In the case of distance education, many of these new tools have already been proven to provide significant value. The utility of others is still being explored and tested. Social media is one area of modern tools that many instructors are curious about, but perhaps hesitant to incorporate in educational timelines. 21st century students use social media on a regular basis. Instructors can also use social media to deliver high-quality exercises that reinforce the theory presented in lectures. Social media may be an unfamiliar tool for many professors, but it is not hard to use, and when used properly and with good planning, it can benefit the learning environment. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to present some ideas about the effective use of social media tools in distance education. I hope you will find the material interesting and relevant to your own educational environment. I'd like to start by stating 3 key points. These key points help to motivate the rest of the presentation. First, social media can reduce the natural transactional distance that exists between instructors and students in distant learning environments. Dr. Michael Moore wrote a paper in 1997 entitled Theory of Transactional Distance. In this paper, he summarizes the challenges faced by instructors and students because of the time and space separation that limits the mentorship opportunities in remote learning. He continues by describing how 3 categories, the degree of instructional dialogue, the structure of the learning materials, and the autonomy of the learning, each affect the success of the teacher-learner transaction. Finally, he noted how important developments in computer teleconferencing at that time were providing significant opportunity to reduce transactional distance by increasing teacher-student dialogue, by changing the type and structure of the learning materials, and by also enabling collaborative, constructivist, autonomous learning. Today, more than 10 years later, location-aware mobile applications and social media tools are both important and evolving classes of computing technologies that have similar opportunity to reduce transactional distance. This presentation focuses on social media. Social media tools enable people physically separated by distance to communicate with each other electronically in near real time. Also, most social media tools allow collaborative construction of information and theme lines. Centralized servers maintain most of the data. Students must log in to view content. But some services now push data to mobile devices, allowing alert notifications to interrupt a user throughout the day. This asynchronous delivery of content can be put to use by instructors to effectively deliver learning objects to students. Finally, like all classroom tools, social media learning activities require planning. modern web technologies enable a level of communication and networking that has not been possible before. Because 21st century students use social media on a regular basis, teachers can leverage it to deliver high-quality exercises, as well as material that reinforces the theory presented in their lectures. When used properly and with good planning, these exercises can enhance the environment by reducing transactional distance. Let's stop for a moment and think about the environment that 21st century students have indeed grown up in. Any distance education learner below the age of 35 might be considered part of the Millennial Generation. In the United States, demographers define the Millennial Generation as people born between 1980 and 1994. A number of research organizations have studied the learning and work habits of this demographic and published the results. For example, the research results of Richard Sweeney, the university librarian at the New Jersey Institute of Technology, are well known and commonly cited in the literature. Similarly, a report published in early 2010 by the Pew Research Center provides the results of a detailed study into the belief systems, the social values, and the employment statistics of this age group. Let's focus on the learning habits and the expectations. I chose 4 learning characteristics from the research results that are most relevant to this presentation. Please note that these are generalizations about the Millennial Generation learner. They do not apply to every Millennial Generation student, but they can certainly be identified prevalently in the population. Similarly, because the data was collected in the United States, it may not apply equally well worldwide. The first characteristic is feedback. Millennial students have grown up in a fast-paced society where videos or blogs go viral on the web within hours after posting. Thus, they like merit systems that tell them how they are doing right now at this point in time. Consider that it's common today to have like and dislike tags on shared web content. Similarly, they are judged on their actions in online games by instantaneous comments from other players. These examples of instant feedback, along with many others they have experienced throughout their educational lives, can make them impatient with traditional paper exercises and the associated multiple-day grading times, because they really prefer to have their feedback now. They have grown up with these on-demand services, and they expect that education will be no different. The second characteristic is learning style. As a group, this generation prefers to learn with others. They are regular participants in multiplayer online games, web searching, social networks, and team sports. The research suggests that they do not read as much or as deeply as previous generations, perhaps because web-based information sources provide links to take them away quickly. This has led to an amazing ability to move around and collect information, but it has changed the way they read the information. I wouldn't say it has become superficial, rather it's become more selective and on demand. Both their team-based learning style as well as their reading style has led them to be great networkers with others. The third characteristic is that they are always on. This generation are digital natives with no fear of computing or communication technology. They also have extensive access to mobile phones, the web, instant messaging, and thus their own friend networks. All of these have led them to be highly efficient multitaskers, although information overload may sometimes make them less efficient workers. Finally, the fourth characteristic is that they are roamers. Their communication moves with them everywhere they go through the magic of the computing cloud. Their technology allows them to have constant contact, and they are used to viewing the world through 5-inch mobile telephone screens. They are also more asynchronous, with many of them preferring texting instead of face-to-face meetings or voice. I have color-coded these attributes. The blue boxes are their need attributes. The red boxes are challenge attributes that might impact educators, and the green boxes are generational skill sets or learning attributes that could suggest adopting different types of social media technologies in the classroom. It could be argued that many of the learning attributes of these millennial generation students are also basic attributes of distance education learners at all ages. That is likely true, although older students probably do not have the same need and challenge attributes. Distance education has the unique variable of significant variation in student age. Thus, while social media teaching techniques might reduce transactional distance for younger students because they are familiar with this type of computing technology and would participate in an instructor-student dialogue, it could be a distraction to an older student that has not spent the same amount of time building or maintaining an online presence. It is important to consider the educational audience when using any tool in distance education, and in all cases, as Michael Moore points out in his paper, a well-structured educational activity that increases instructor-student dialogue should always be the goal. Social media technologies can be neatly placed into a number of large categories. Kaplan and Heinlein create a set of categories in a recent paper they wrote for the journal Business Horizons. The categories are blogs, content sharing, collaboration, social networks, and virtual worlds. Examples of each can help to clarify the category's intent. All of these categories have application-specific and public domain examples. I have provided public domain examples that are regularly used by society. The first category is blog. The term blog is an acronym made from the last four letters of the words weblog. Most blogs are styled as online diaries, and they reach thousands of words over time. Many instructors have made good use of blogs as an educational tool. Both experiential reports, as well as the results of controlled research studies about blog usage, are published in peer-reviewed education literature. Expository writing, product critiques, and design documentation are all uses of blogs that could easily fit into the structure of a distance education course. The example blog listed here, however, is quite different from the larger diary-style blog tools. Twitter is a microblogging service that has experienced a tremendous growth in popularity among celebrities and journalists. A microblog is a blog with very short entries. The basic way that Twitter is used is to send short messages called tweets. Tweets are text-based, as they currently do not support images or video except through hyperlinking. The tweets are limited to 140 characters. Users choose to follow your tweets. Tweets are seen by followers when they log into the Twitter website, or they are pushed asynchronously through the computing cloud to, for example, a Twitter application embedded in Facebook or on a mobile telephone. Again, the literature contains published reports of the use of Twitter and other microblogs to support education. Examples include passive content delivery, such as daily key points, definition of terms, or spaced repetition exercises. Collaborative examples include brainstorming, also called a Twitter storm, where students are asked to quickly generate a list of ideas about some topic.